with plans for Shinsuke Nakamura to face Roman Reigns and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for May 2nd. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. During the Attitude Era for WWE, video packages were showed where stars of the past were talking about the stars of that day. Former WWE Creative Director of On-Air Promotions, David Sahidi, talked on Talk and Shop recently about how this video made Vince McMahon cry. Kevin Dunn calls me, I'm doing the shoot in Albany, and he goes, Vince called and can't understand why you're shooting these old guys. He didn't understand it was a passing of the torch spot. He goes, it better be good because he's very upset. I'm like, trust me, he's going to love it. A week later when the spot was done, we called him into the audio room to listen on the big screen and play it out loud. 15 seconds in, it's him, Shane, and I think Pat Patterson. 15 seconds in, Vince is like, oh god, Jesus, oh god. He walked out before the tap page even came up. I turned to Shane and said, he hates it, doesn't he? He goes, no, you got him. I swear to you on my life. I walked outside the studio and Vince is sitting on the ground in tears, just drenched with tears, and he's saying thank you so much. I walk up to tell Kevin Dunn, and Kevin does, you did a good job, I can't wait to see the spot. 20 minutes later, I walk back to the studio and Vince is in the stairwell sitting down with Pat Patterson and Shane, and he's still crying, saying thank you so much. I think one reason why it has affected Vince so much is that he saw it wasn't just a passing of the torch from one wrestling generation to another, but also the legacy of his dad to him. I think he felt on a visceral and personal level. To make Vince McMahon cry, it's one of my top spots of all time, even though I've done far more creative things. But there is emotion in that spot, and it's all about emotion. After having an 870-day reign as NXT UK champion, Gunther finds himself on the main roster. Talking to Cultaholic, he explained that he grew out of his former brand. For me, it was like, I think I kind of grew out of NXT UK myself, and it was time to take the next step. I think the timing was right now. There were a lot of changes inside of WWE. Yeah, the timing was just perfect for it, so I went for it. In the back of my head, I always pushed it away from myself a little bit, but in the back of my head, I always knew at one point, you're going to make that step. With AEW and New Japan set for their first joint pay-per-view, Dave Meltzer said on Sunday night's main event that Stardom wants to work with AEW as well. Stardom's got their own big shows when they run Sumo Hall. I know Stardom would love to have Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa, those people on there at the Sumo Hall show at the end of the year. I don't see anything on June 26th, and really there shouldn't be because then you start diluting things. Speaking about the Owen Hart tournament match between Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, Jim Cornette noted on a show that FTR should be bookers for AEW. So now FTR has had the best match we ever saw in NXT, the best tag team match at least, they're the best match on the WrestleMania 38 weekend in ROH against the Briscoes, they're the best tag team match we have ever seen in AEW a couple times, and now they have a flawless singles match with each other. Maybe Tony Khan should really have these guys booking and popping corn because they can do everything else. With him also praising this match, AEW President Tony Khan talked on Busted Open Radio regarding this bout as he said, it's a great match, and it's absolutely worth repeat viewing. It was a great way to start a great show. I thought Dax versus Cash was an amazing match. It was very much the kind of great wrestling match you want to have, especially in a tournament like the Owen Hart Cup. Both men fought really hard, but there was only one place on the line in this match. CM Punk also brought so much to the match on commentary, I thought, which is another reason why it's probably worth checking out again. That's a match that will stand the test of time. Frankly, FTR have been in a lot of matches in 2022 already that will stand the test of time. We're not even through April yet, and how many great matches have FTR been involved in this year? So many. During an interview with Sony Sports Network, Raw superstar Veer Mahaan recalled talking to The Undertaker prior to his debut, saying, before my debut, I ran into Undertaker. I had a few call sessions with Undertaker at Performance Center, and it was great to see Taker backstage when I was getting ready for my debut. He goes, man, are you ready for this? I said, yes sir. Now you are here and I'm ready to go. That was one of the most memorable moments. With Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti recently becoming the AAA Mixed Tag Champs, Dave Meltzer revealed on Wrestling Observer Radio that Sammy was injured heading into this bout and how it limited his in-ring performance. So this was an interesting one. Ty Conti and Sammy Guevara were supposed to win the Mixed Tag Team title, but Sammy is hurt. He was running around pretty good, but he wasn't taking any big bumps or anything like that, so he did not wrestle, and Parca Negra teamed with Ty Conti, and then Arez and Chick Tormenta are the champions. Commander teamed with Sexy Star. Commander's great young wrestler. People have been raving about him for a long time. This was his first match ever on a Triple Mania. Really looked good. And then Latigo and Lady Maravilla. So late in the match was going on, and you had all kinds of big dives one after the other. Commander did a rope walk into a moonsault on Parca Negra among others. He was pretty impressive, and then they had Sammy just basically break up a pin. Rez did a Spanish Fly and Sexy Star out of the ring onto everyone, then Sammy started getting involved. He hit Chick Tormenta with his crutch. He came out like limping, like he had a knee injury. So I knew his shoulder and neck is hurt, but not his knee. Then he hit Arez with the crutch as well, and then Ty hit the Tai KO on Chick Tormenta, and Sammy pinned Chick. He replaced Parca Negra in the match, like in the last minute or so it kind of makes absolutely no sense if you think about it, but it was the way they could get the belts on Sammy and Ty while Sammy really couldn't do a match yet. It's not like they're going to be back right away, but presume you would want them back for the Tijuana show. That's June 18th, which is the second Triple Mania. Sammy and Ty came off like really big stars, just coming out and doing the French kissing and the whole bit. Speaking of Lucha Libre Online, AEW Executive Vice President The Young Bucks talked about the working relationship with New Japan, saying the promotion big leagued AEW during their early talks. What's crazy is we told New Japan day one, hey, we're doing this thing, come hang out with us, come work with us, we'd still love to do your shows. They kind of kayfabed us, kind of big leagued us a little bit in the beginning. They were waiting until that entire dinner table was completely set, then, oh wait, now let's go. So it's just funny when you see, and all the WWE guys that joined AEW now too, they didn't want to join AEW at first because they were like, I don't know if this is real, blah 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 blah. We remember who took the leap with us in the very beginning, day one. It was us who set the dinner table. So it's funny now that New Japan, all these WWE guys, they all want to be a part of this thing that we created. When it comes to the WWE draft, it seems it will be coming up soon. With Steve Carrier of Ringside News writing, we've asked around about plans for the next draft. We were told that at this time it is slated to go down in September. This means WWE has a few months to situation things and hopefully acclimate recent NXT call-ups before they shake things up. With 10 NXT stars recently released from WWE, Ringside News would also report that the company is keeping their creative team in the dark on future talent being let go. WWE just cut a bunch of people from NXT, but is the main roster next. We were told by a tenured member of the creative team that releases are being kept very quiet and private until they happen. No calls have been made yet, only time will tell how long WWE waits. Staying on the topic of those WWE releases, Dexter Lumis was let go during that time, which came as a shock to many who saw him as a fan favorite. Now he has changed his name back to Samuel Shaw and released this video. Talking to Lucha Libre Online, Eric Bischoff spoke about no other wrestling company being able to compare to the sheer size of WWE and claimed it's too big for competition. If you talk about real competition, you have to define what that competition is. If you were just talking about competition in terms of revenues, good luck with that. WWE is such a head start, the company is so far up front any new emerging company that it would take a generation to really catch up to the revenue. If you talk about the distribution of the product, the footprint of the brand, that too, it can happen, but it will definitely take a lot of time. The truth is, I got competitive with WWE when it was WWF, and although they were very clearly way out in front of WCW at the time, they weren't so big they were not vulnerable. And now they've become so big that while they still may be vulnerable, it's going to take a hell of an effort to make them realize you're there. Heading into his rematch against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania Backlash, Cody Rhodes talked on After the Bell about bringing back classic championship belts. Those need to be brought back to wrestling, by the way the classic says. I feel like if you have a talk segment, you need a bad set. That's the definition of it. I did that once with the Intercontinental title. It took a lot of work, but it was the right call once we got there. I think there's a particular design of the WWE Championship that people are very fond of. I'd say hypothetically it really would be something to achieve the ultimate industry dream, being the best of the best ever in terms of that moment in time, and then perhaps give it a fresh coat of paint with the Winged Eagle title. That would just be something. That's all I can say really. For an episode of SmackDown a few weeks back, Shinsuke Nakamura challenged Roman Reigns. Despite that, the program did not go anywhere. Now Ringside News has given an update on these plans. A lot of fans are still wondering what happened with Nakamura versus Reigns. We're told that Nakamura is there to hit when it's time. The match won't be a stadium show, but he is there for us to use with Roman when we need it. In some unfortunate news, former WWE star Alberto Del Rio recently took to Twitter to announce that the mother of his children has passed away. It is with pain in my heart and with a torn soul that I officially confirm the unexpected and unfortunate death of Angela Velke, mother of my 3 children. Angela was an exceptional human being and an exemplary mother to my 3 children. I thank each and every one who went to donate blood and platelets to the media that spread the word so that more people could go to help us and the whole family that is present for my children in this very difficult moment in their short lives. Angela passed away this Saturday, April 30th, and fought with all her might until the last second in this world. Today she rests with God and is watching over Sophia, Stephanie, and Joseph from heaven. Angela, you were my wife for many years, the mother of my children, my best friend, advisor, and you were there for me. In many moments where the world turned its back on me with words of encouragement and a sincere hug. Thank you so much, Angela. We miss you like you have no idea, but I swear to you that our children will grow up to be good men and women like you always asked me to. Dad will be here for them. Rest in peace. In this world, you were always my angel, and so I always let you know. Now you truly became an angel watching over us from heaven. You will always be my angel, our angel. We love you, Angela. Thanks for being you. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.